This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, Episode 8.
Charts isn't the hard part of investing. The hard part of investing is the emotions.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host who once paid $120 in trading commissions on a single trade, Clay Trader.
Yeah, $120 in commissions. Cost me $60 to buy those shares. It cost me $60 to sell those shares, and I had no idea what I was doing. Looking back, I know exactly what I did. I had a mutual fund, and that's what originally got me interested in the market. But then when I decided, you know what? I want to take matters into my own hands. I literally took them into my own hands. I sold my mutual fund through my regional bank. For those of you in the Midwest, it was through Fifth Third Bank. I believe that's just the Midwest. But anyways, it was through Fifth Third Bank. So I sold my mutual fund. And then I thought, hey, look, they're giving me a choice to buy some shares. So I used them as my quote unquote online broker. And keep in mind, they are not a discount broker. They don't have Super Bowl commercials that are telling you about their stock, brokerage services. So I bought some shares through Fifth Third Bank, and then things went well. I made some money. I was in the green. And then when I went to sell, all of a sudden my gains were very, very small compared to what it was showing my actual gains being. And then after some more research, oh, wow, $60 to buy, $60 to sell, $120 in commission in one trade. I had no idea what I was doing clearly. But lesson learned, from that point forward, it really dawned on me, hey, brokers, researching brokers influence quite a bit when it comes to trading. So I've always taken brokers very serious ever since then. And it's been pretty good since then. I've still had some hiccups along the way, and now I feel very good with the broker I'm with. But yeah, take a lesson from my page. Don't go out and use some regional bank to execute your trades. It's not going to turn out pretty. Chezz, are you agreeing with me on this, or am I giving bad advice when it comes to the broker stuff?
No, I completely agree. You guys need to kind of look at it like a business. And obviously, if you were in the restaurant business, when you buy your food for the restaurant, you want to be buying, at the best cost you can to keep, your profit margin, so you can, kind of take more money home. So I actually had a similar story, and when I was trading penny stocks, I had made a whopping $125 gain right when I started, and I was so happy about that. And then I closed the trade, and I looked at my account and said, how am I down $25? So, what happened is not posting. And it turns out round trip, because I bought like 300,000 shares or something, I had racked up a commission of over $150. So I was like, great, that was a $25 loss on a $125 gain. So you definitely got to do your homework, that's for sure. And we have we got quite a few kind of summaries for brokers on the claytrader.com/resource page.
Is that through SureTrader?
It was.
I
now named the trader that will not be the brokerage that will not be named. That's what we're going to call it.
I'm pretty sure we've already bashed them on another episode, but I will bash them all day long just because so many of the affiliate marketers are always trying to get people to sign up for them. But SureTrader, give us those numbers one more time, Chezz. That's mind-boggling to me.
At a $125 gain, which for my small account, which is very small, in the hundreds of dollars, it was a big gain for me. And then my commission was just about $150. So that the gain turned into a loss based on commission.
And the commission here that's tricky and that you need to keep an eye out for is sometimes it's not just per trade commission. Sometimes it's per share. So like when Chezz said, he's buying 300,000 shares of a penny stock. Well, when you're having commissions add up per share, 300,000, that's going to add up very quickly. And in Chezz's case, $125. So get out there, and when you're doing your research, and especially if you're thinking about penny stocks become very difficult if you're paying some sort of commission structure that is per share. Like Chezz said, if you go to claytrader.com/resources, I do offer my thoughts on brokers, kind of who to use, who to stay away from, and you can kind of get a good little, at least firm foundation in terms of what you should be looking for in terms of brokers. So from 120, you actually beat me, Chezz.
I had to beat you somehow.
I was unbeatable. $120, and you paid $125.
I think we're gonna start using my fun facts for the intro of the podcast.
Well, this is until I'm going to go place a trade later today that cost me $150. So I'm going to keep setting the bar high. I'm going to try to dig myself a hole just so I can hang on to the king of stupidity when it comes to trading broker commissions. But anyways, we have a great show today. We are actually interviewing another member from our community. This person has a crazy story. Stephen King is his name, and in the chat room, he actually goes by Stephen King. So we don't have any fun aliases today or anything like that, but really good story. And one that I think a lot of people can hopefully pull some good little nuggets of information from. So let's get started with the interview and bring on Stephen. Well, hey, Stephen, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking some time out of your day.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I know you got a pretty crazy story. And as I already mentioned, it was to the point where I said, you know what, this sounds pretty crazy. So why don't you send us over some sort of documentation, which you did volunteer to do. So I appreciate that. And some of these numbers that we'll be hearing, you did show us that documentation. So I appreciate you doing that. So let's just start, kind of right back from the start. What were you doing? What got you interested in the stock market? And, we'll kind of take it from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you said, it's a pretty wild story, to be honest with you. And most people don't believe it right offhand. So I typically have to show them tax returns and my trades. And so that's what I wanted to do, just to show you that I was legit. So I sent you over, obviously, the tax returns and the initial trades that I made. But I got started actually in 9th grade in high school. My dad used to drop me off at school, and I'd walk in the front doors and walk right out the back, and I'd head over to Starbucks during the daytime, and I'd try and figure out ways to get rich online.
Now, are you looking to get rich quick or just get rich?
I was just looking to get rich. I mean, I always thought since I was a kid, it's really as far back as I could remember, that I had some kind of purpose, some kind of meaning, something that I was supposed to do with my life that was bigger than me and bigger than myself. So I knew that I had to get rich to do that, and I knew that there was only two ways: stocks and real estate. And for me, stocks was the one that was the path that I decided to choose. So
that's, I would say most people in 9th grade do not have the clarity or kind of the motivation to even, think of something like that. Most people are just going to high school going, yeah, where am I going to go to college? Stuff like that. So that's pretty amazing that you would kind of recognize that and kind of found the motivation and you knew what you needed to do already at that age. It's kind of very, very rare, at least from what I've seen. But
I don't know. In 9th grade, I was just like hoping girls would talk to me and stuff like that. So, I mean, I wasn't stock market. What's that? I just hope she talks to me today. Or if she does, I hope I don't, crap my pants. So that's where my focus was at.
No kidding. Yeah, well, I actually dropped out of high school in 9th grade, or 10th grade. I'm sorry. That was after I had taken about... Let's see. I thought the number was 1,200 originally, until I looked back in 2003. I actually started off my account with $900 and some odd dollars, and after I turned that into 40,000 in a couple months or a few months, I decided, I just don't see a reason to keep going to school here. I really just don't. So I dropped out in 10th grade. My parents really couldn't say anything to me because I had made more money that year than both of them combined.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. No, so $900 to $40,000. What were you trading? What vehicles were you using to create that sort of exponential growth?
At the time, and I'm sure you guys will remember, back in 2003, the internet was a relatively new thing, especially high-speed internet. Just a few years prior, whenever you wanted to get online, you had to go on AOL. It was the dial-up thing. So high-speed internet was brand new, and you couldn't even trade stocks. So like in the 90s, we couldn't have done this. Or you would have had to have gone into some office with some T1. So this was brand new at the time. There wasn't a lot of information online about what is support, what is resistance, what are indicators. Those things didn't exist. But I started noticing them, and I don't know why I noticed them, but I started noticing them, and I started noticing them in penny stocks. And so I jumped in a couple stocks that were 3 cents a share, and they'd run up to 40 cents or 50 cents or 70 cents a share, and And I did that a few times, just using basic support and resistance, exactly what you teach. So
Yeah. So I think, did you have a lot of screen time at that point before you started to kind of, your chart vision became honed to see support and resistance? I'm
sorry?
assuming that it didn't happen overnight. You kind of being able to recognize support and resistance. Is that right?
No, not at all. It took a few months there, but like I always tell people, because I teach free classes. I teach people how to trade for free sometimes. And a lot of times I don't have time to, so I've been directing them over to Clay because his trading style I've found, is the most accurate way to trade. It took a while. I mean, but you can teach anybody. I've found you can teach anybody charts. It really only takes a few months of practice to teach somebody charts. Charts isn't the hard part of investing. The hard part of investing is the emotions. It's the mental mindset that you have to be in. It's the risk management. It's all those things. It's all those pieces that you've started to teach, Clay, and I'm absolutely loving those videos that you're putting out there. One point I'd love to stress, I don't think people realize that I had to pay tens of thousands of dollars over the past few years to get the exact same information that you're giving your users, sometimes for free, but if not for free, for a very low price. I've paid tens of thousands of dollars for that exact same information. So I'm actually honored to be here today to be a part of this revolution, what you're starting.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, without, trying to turn it into a sales pitch, I mean, I try to keep things affordable. If somebody wants to make the effort to learn, then so be it. And yeah, you summed it up perfectly. Charting is not rocket science. It does not need to be complicated. You see some of those indicators out there, and it just, I have no idea what's going on. I feel like I'm in the Matrix or something looking at some of those indicators. But yeah, support, resistance, you just got to kind of keep it simple. So, all right, you're sitting at $40,000. You've dropped out of high school. Your parents, like you said, really can't say much because you've made more than they have combined. So what's the next step from there? I mean, you're still only, in quote unquote, the 10th grade.
Right, exactly. Well, I moved in with a girlfriend at the time, and we just started living together and sitting around all day and hanging out and doing what teenagers do, and I'd trade during the daytime, and eventually worked my way up to the hundreds of thousands, and then we started doing some really crazy stuff like chartering private planes down to Cancun for the weekend and popping bottles of champagne and stuff like that, just wild stuff. Buying houses in cash and just I went through some times there, and I'm honestly not proud to say, but I went through some times there that were like, if you've seen the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street, I mean, that was my life back then. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because thank goodness I've actually been delivered out of that, because that's not the way you want to live. Trust me.
Yeah, that sometimes can lead to a very drastic spiral down in your quality of life. So it's a good thing you kind of recognize that, and we're happy to hear you still around today, obviously, and doing well for yourself. So you had just continued to kind of buy off support and resistance at that time. Now, what was kind of was there any kind of bad times, from the point you had dropped out of high school? Were there any huge drawdowns or something that might have made you recognize that, wow, sometimes I might be playing with fire, or was it just kind of smooth sailing?
No, it was definitely not smooth sailing. As a matter of fact, I've gone through so many struggles in my life. I am blessed to be here today. Like I said, it got out of control, and you're exactly right. It spiraled out of control very quickly. You give a 19-year-old, that much money in that short amount of time with no skills to know how to manage it, bad things are going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. I became a drug addict for a while. I isolated my friends, my family. I ended up marrying that girl. She left me a few months later. So I lost my wife, my mom, my dad. They wouldn't talk to me. My brothers, my sisters, they wouldn't talk to me. And actually, I tell people the worst day that I ever had in my entire life was the day that I made the most money. I made $283,000 in one day. And that was the loneliest day of my life because I realized I had all this money. I could go anywhere I wanted to in the world, see anything I wanted, but I had absolutely no one to see it with.
So you're telling me money does not buy happiness? Is that what I just got out of that?
Oh, money absolutely does not buy happiness. Today, my wealth is my family, it's my friends, it's my connections. Money assists. Money is fun, but if you're going after money to become happy, man, you're looking in the wrong places. It just doesn't. So
Yeah, I mean, I get some people, not a lot, so I don't want to make it sound like it's commonplace, but, why do you post kids of your picture, or why do you post pictures of your kids? What's up with all this family stuff? Why, where's this and the other? As you know, I mean, some of the marketing tactics out there, they're definitely geared towards, hey, money buys happiness. And to me, you summed it up perfectly. I mean, I like family, I like friends. To me, that stuff, I mean, that's the real stuff. So I'm glad you said that, because that's an interesting point. The biggest trade, the most money you ever made, and you felt the loneliest on that day. So would you agree with this? Or you've already said it, but just the echo, I mean, if you're in this business because you think making a bunch of money is going to make you happy, you're setting up yourself up for massive disappointment. Would you agree with that?
Not only massive disappointment, but, there was a time there when I thought I could even lose my life. At that point, after I had no one, I became highly addicted to drugs. I started losing in the stock market. I started spending so much money on things that I shouldn't have been spending it on. And I had no idea about short-term capital gains tax, what that was from the IRS. So I had spent well over half of my money from 2004 and 2005. And I received a letter in 2005 or 2006 that I owed the IRS about $170,000 more than I currently had in my account. So I realized when I was walking down the road one day, a homeless man asked me for money. And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, you may not know this, but you're $170,000 richer than I am right now."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that must have been a rude awakening getting that bill. Some people are used to getting a cell phone bill, mortgage payment. But yeah, when Uncle Sam, hits you up for a bill that has more zeros attached to it than you'd like, I'm sure it was not a pleasant feeling at all.
Wow,
So
it was terrifying. Yeah.
So now you would kind of, you're in this dark place. You got this letter from the IRS. Are you starting to dig out of the hole from this point, or does the rabbit hole go further?
Well, I mean, obviously there's been struggles since then, and I am still bouncing back. I'm 30 years old today. I just turned 30, or not today, but very recently just turned 30, and it has taken about 10 years to get my life back. Remember, I had no high school degree, no high school education. And so I thought, well, how in the world am I going to pay back $170,000? The second I put money in my trading account, they would seize it. The IRS would seize it immediately. So I had no way to make money trading. I had to go to work on an offshore oil rig because I found out that you could make like $70,000 to $100,000 a year just mopping floors and living out there. So I lived out there and made the money back and eventually paid it to the IRS and then decided, okay, it's time to go to school. So I went to college, and at that point I thought it was so easy. I made a 4.0 and went straight through college and promised myself I wouldn't do any trading again until I graduated. So I just graduated about a year ago, and I just started trading again. Thank you.
Now, so I'm just curious, maybe to backtrack a little bit, but you were trading obviously during the dot-com bubble, which is why those big penny stocks were running the way they did. How did you, when everything imploded, how did you manage that? Were you still making money? Did you start trading short then? Or, I mean, I guess, how did you handle when the bubble popped? What was your kind of strategy at that point?
Yeah, one thing that always really intrigued me that so many people don't know about when they first start out is, yeah, you can make money when the market goes up, but you can make even more money 5 times faster when the market's going down. And especially now that I've gotten into options recently, and your options course does an absolutely excellent job for anybody who's beginning to learn options or wants to learn options. I don't know of another program out there that could simplify it any better than yours.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like if my little daughter can understand it, then I know I've done my job. So if you like bright pictures and stuff like that, then that's kind of at least my business model when it comes to teaching. So I'm glad to hear that it was simplified for you. So that's good to hear. So were you using options? Well, you said you recently got into them. So you were just shorting stocks then back during the collapse. You had figured out all that, or did you take some hits back when the bubble popped?
I mean, I started taking hits, but only after I like I said, I became heavily addicted to drugs. I was making really ridiculously stupid decisions. That's when I started losing all the money, was when I got out of my mind. Then I started letting the stock market control my life. It was keeping me awake at night. I was having to go to the doctor and ask for a ton of Xanax just so I could sleep. Let me tell you right now, if you're the kind of trader who's having trouble sleeping at night because you're so worried about your position and what it's going to do the next morning, you're not managing your risk correctly. You're not managing your position sizes correctly. You should not be losing sleep over a position that you're in right now. You need to have proper position sizing and risk management in place at all times. I never risk more than 2% of my total account value on any one trade these days.
Yeah, and touching back on the shorting, I bring this up just about every time people bring it up is, stocks take the stairs up and then they take the elevator down, and that's when, a lot of people can really capitalize if you're positioned correctly for that, a big fall like the burst of a bubble. But if it's something we've had to bring up to a few traders, actually, newer traders generally. Just like you said, if your position sizing is too large for you, you will feel that you'll be uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, that's an emotion. And when you're emotional, you're going to make silly and foolish decisions, especially with your money. You're practically going to give it away if you're not lucky by some, hand of God. But
and if you're on drugs, it makes it that much worse. Not to make light of the situation, but
don't do drugs, kids.
Yes.
But no, seriously. And the Clay did a couple videos. One was the dental chair exam thing. Isn't that what?
The dentist chair test. Yep.
Yeah, the dentist chair test. That's brilliant. I've sent it to so many of my friends that are just getting started in trading. They've got to understand that. And another one was the bug zapper. Where there's fun, Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, those videos, I've taken training courses in the past, and I literally had to pay thousands of dollars just to learn those concepts right there that you put out on YouTube for anybody to watch.
Isn't it crazy though to think about like fun being such a bad thing when it comes to trading? Like, because trading is fun, that's like it is a bug zapper. It just sucks you right in. And if for the listeners out there, if you're curious to watch either the dentist chair test or the zapper video, you can find those in the show notes. But isn't that crazy, Stephen, how fun? I mean, fun is supposed to be fun, yet in the stock market, fun, it can be very deceiving. That's nuts, isn't it?
It's absolutely wild. It's so counterintuitive, and that's what people don't understand. All of trading is counterintuitive. But yeah, it is. It's nuts. So...
Yeah, it's not like you said, it's counterintuitive. It's just not natural based on the way pretty much society and the world are structured. It's, pretty much counter to most of that and how you kind of react and, what your brain defaults to. It's can really get you in trouble. But yeah, like you said, trading can be taught. We're firm believers in this. And while Clay generally cherry picks engineers, we're proud to say that, Stephen, I don't think you're an engineer, are you?
No, I'm not, but
it's our first non-engineer on the podcast. This is good.
I do love mathematics. I found out, at least when I went back to school, I found out I loved mathematics.
Let me say this though, just so people aren't intimidated. When you say mathematics, I mean, you're not talking about calculus and geometry and all that, right? You're talking basic mathematics when it comes to trading, at least. I mean, the math here is not complicated, right?
Okay, so when it comes to trading, let's not forget, I could not pass 9th grade algebra, and I made well over $1 million. Okay, so I could not pass 9th grade algebra. If you can count to 10, you can be an amazing trader. Okay. That being said, though, yeah, I absolutely do love calculus, and I teach it. But it has absolutely nothing to do with trading.
Yeah, you will not have to take Yeah, there's no
I'm sorry.
integrals in trading. There's no differential equation, at least not that I'm aware of. Maybe some of those
No.
indicators are based on differential equations, but yeah, if you
Yeah.
understand that, 10 is higher than 5, you're off to a very good start. So,
That's it. That's all you need to know.
yeah, exactly. At this point, at what point did so things were spiraling out of control. At some point you had to realize, wow, what am I doing? What is going on? Was there a certain event that finally kind of led you to that just breaking point where whether I got to change things in life or I got to change with my trading? What was your final breaking point? And then, what were kind of your steps to really start to resolve that?
Well, like I said, I lost my family, my friends. I lost absolutely every connection I had in life. I was lonely to the point where I was really considering just ending things. And somebody told me, hey, why don't you go to rehab and get your life together? And then if you still want to end things after that, go ahead. You can always do it later. But I went to a rehab center. I got myself cleaned up. I found spirituality, not religion, but I found spirituality. And I learned that, one big thing that I learned was the how of trading. That's not what's important. Most people want to know how to trade. How do I trade? How do I trade? That to me is not the important thing. The important thing is your why. Why are you trading? Are you trading so you can get rich and get, booty all the time and drive the fastest car? That used to be me, and you see how it turned out. Today I trade because I want to help people. I want to become a philanthropist. I want to give as much money as I possibly can. I think that our financial system, the way it's set up on Wall Street and everything, that's why society's so mad at it today. Everybody wants to occupy Wall Street. I don't think that's the way to go about it. Instead of occupying Wall Street, why don't we redefine it? Why don't we create hedge funds that can help people and that can last for generation after generation and become, some of the largest private charities in the world? That to me is my goal in life, to leave a handprint for generations to come.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that, a couple episodes ago, another thing about the why is if you're just getting into this because I want to make money, I want to buy this, it takes a lot of hard work. You have to study. You have to put in the time and effort. And if you hate this stuff, if you don't find any interest in this, you need to have a passion. And your passion can't be all about, I need to make money, because you're not going to make money right up front. And if you do make it, you're more than likely going to lose it because, if you're going the fast route, the fast route to money, the fast route back down is the same way. So you got to really, the why, you need to have a passion. You need to actually enjoy this. If you think numbers and if you think, numbers going up and down is boring and just doesn't make any sense or have no desire for it, then you're not going to succeed, because you need to have something that's going to push you to want to study. And as much as, fancy cars and all that stuff may be sitting out in the future, that's out in the future. And in order to get there, you're going to need some sort of passion and fire and motivation, to push through. So, just keep that in mind for all of you out there. You got to have the right passion behind things. Chezz,
Yeah.
are we on the same page there?
100%. Yeah, your underlying motivations for why you get involved in trading is so crucial. And like you said, I don't think a lot of people do approach it as a get rich quick scheme, and it really isn't. A lot of my friends, when I tell them, this is what I do, and I'll show them a screenshot of all these charts on my monitors, and to them they go, you wake up before the sun comes up to look at bars of green and red go up and down, and you've been doing that for 8 months, and you're kind of just spinning your wheels. You don't have a private jet yet. And I go, yeah, I do this willingly. I enjoy doing this. This is not, I looked at it at first as supplemental income, and then I realized right away that, this was a real passion of mine, and it's an absolute, like you kind of talked about, that you're happy to be here. I'm ecstatic to be here. I never thought in a million years that I would be on a trading podcast, and you can kind of tell, I hope that the listeners can tell, that I just have a genuine passion for trading and talking about it. It's like, this is enjoyable for me. This does not feel like work. So yeah, if you don't feel that way, then, I think that a lot of, you'll probably be in it for the short term, because, if you don't live it and breathe it and kind of embrace all that is to it, you're not going to be here for a long time. You're just going to kind of look at this as a hobby and fade away. So yeah, you really got to kind of, manage your expectations. I thought I'd be gainfully, making a ton of money in, 3 months. And yeah, obviously that's not true. But so you graduated college now, and you got back into trading, right? And you said you're more interested in options.
Yeah, I am. But to piggyback just a little bit off your previous point, you hit the nail on the head. What really blows me away is that people understand completely that if you want to become a doctor, you've got to go to school and you've got to study and you've got to pay a lot of money for education to become a doctor. Same thing for a lawyer. Now, what makes you think that you can just jump into trading with absolutely no education, no study, and absolutely no financial investment? That makes no sense.
But I have an answer to that, Stephen. I did a Google search and I typed in hot stock picks, and there was all these websites that's popped up, and they said, "Get rich quick. Sign up for my newsletter. I got some free picks for you." Are you telling me that it's not that easy?
Wow. Did you even read a book, Trading for Dummies?
Yeah, I found it. It was like 2 cents, so I bought a book, and it. I'm ready to go. Are you telling me that there may be a little bit more to it? Is that I'm trying to read between the lines here? Is that what you're kind of hinting at?
So, would you want a doctor operating on you that read How to Be a Doctor for Dummies?
Well, I'd prefer that at least ran a Google search on brain surgery. But I mean, if they did a Google search and went to Billy Bob's Medical School, .net, then yeah, I'd probably feel a little bit better. But I mean, it's got to be .net. It can't be .com. But yeah,
it's too flashy.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off to go with your point, but yeah, I mean, this is you're making a very good point here.
Anyway, sorry, Chezz, I forgot. What was the last thing? Where were we headed with this?
You'd finished up college now, and I was asking about your newfound interest in options, and kind of wanted to hear about that.
Yeah, no, options are really cool, and I think Clay would probably agree with me that I don't know if you want to call it easier or safer or even both, but they're just a great vehicle to use. They're just an incredible vehicle to use, especially if you are into penny stock trading. The way that you can use derivatives, man, to just capitalize. If a stock moves 2% and you can make 120% off that move, it almost sounds unreal at first. Like, that's too good to be true. Are you kidding me? That doesn't make sense. But it actually is the truth, and you actually can do that, and I actually do that every day.
And it's crazy. Even today, of a recording of this Tesla options yesterday were trading at 8 cents, and then today I saw in the chat room some of them were up over $3. So I don't know the percentages on that, but yeah, you were not actually 120%. That was being a little bit on the modest side there. I mean, they can go a lot bigger than that. But on the same token, and I'm sure you'd agree here, it's not just, hey, options sound great, I'm going to sign up for an options account and just start buying them. I mean, to be fair, options will gladly take your lunch money in a heartbeat if you go in unprepared. I mean, so there's always a flip side to every coin. So listeners, keep in mind, Stephen is talking about the perspective and the context of somebody that has learned a lot, has a lot of experience. He's not just saying, yeah, I signed up last week for options and I made 120%. So sorry to cut you off there, but if you were in a court of law, and I like to ask this question from the people that have experience with penny stocks and are now doing options, and I'm the judge and I say, look, Stephen, give me one reason or give me a couple reasons. What makes options so much better than penny stocks? I mean, what would your kind of argument point be for the court of law?
Well, if you're trading penny stocks, you're looking for one thing, and that's big returns, okay? But the problem with penny stocks is, look, we all know what they are. They're pump and dumps. We all know that these aren't real companies. I mean, maybe 1 out of 100,000 is, okay? But we all know that you're probably just getting in it. You're going to do your very best to ride the wave up and then sell before everybody else dumps the shares on you and you're, stuck at the top. It's not so with options. With options, you still get the benefit of trading something that's very cheap, 8 cents a share, 10 cents a share, or, a contract, that has the potential to run up to $3, $4, even $5. But you're trading stocks like Apple. You're trading stocks like Netflix. You're trading Tesla. These are very safe companies. They're not going out of business. And you also get to limit your risk. When you put all your money in penny stocks, you've got to invest, 100% of your account in something, and you could lose 100% of your account. With penny stocks, I can go in and put 2% of my account at risk, and that's the max that I'm going to lose is 2% of my account. and that's it. But I have a potential upside that's totally unlimited. So,
Yeah. Now, just just to not scare our listeners into thinking that this is the absolute best thing you can do now, you would agree, I'm hoping, that you do need to kind of understand technical analysis before you dive into options. Would you agree with that?
oh, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that you need to be a really solid trader first before you even consider starting to look at options. I mean, you can start looking at options and finding out what they're about, but before you start trading options, you need to be a very, very solid trader. And you need to be profitable. You need to have done your paper trading. And then I'd recommend a few months of paper trading options before you even started with real money, which of course, nobody's going to listen to that advice. They're going to jump in. And that's what we all have to do, is go in and lose our money. Our traders, man, we're a special breed of crazy, aren't we?
But trading is fun though, until zap, and then, oh yeah, maybe I should have paper traded. So, but I want to actually, because you bring up a good point, knowing your story. So, I mean, you've been trading since ninth grade, and you just recently got into options, but you did paper trade before you started to put money on the line. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I paper traded for a good 6 months.
So that this here is an awesome point. I mean, Steven, he's been around a while. He's been trading since ninth grade, yet he found something new. He was good with charts, but just because you're good with charts, I mean, he went to a new vehicle. He's now using options. And somebody with as much experience as we've had, who's made as much money, lost as much money, made back money, paid the IRS, here he is. Still, he finally gets it that, you know what? I got to paper trade. I got to do some practicing before I put any real money on the line. So, that's a fantastic point on your part. So, do you have any sort of favorite strategies right now that you're using? Do you like any indicators more so than the other? Or, what are you kind of using right now within your options trading, other than charts?
Well, Clay, I know you kind of like to keep things simple.
Yes, keep it simple, stupid.
I've had a couple of my messages taken down from the chat room because I got a little too technical sometimes, with some of my strategies. But, once you get further into options after your basic course, you can start researching a little bit more about these things that are more advanced, called straddles and strangles and iron condors and things like that. That is a little intimidating at first, but again, there's easy ways to learn that too. And I'm sure you'll probably end up doing some videos on that one day, Clay, knowing you.
It's in progress right now as we speak.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're going to be amazing. So once you learn those kind of strategies, you just learn that you can literally make money when the market's going up, down, or sideways. And it's incredible. I remember the first time that I heard that I could make money when the market was going down. And then I hear about options and I find out I can make money when the market's going sideways.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I was the same way when, wait a minute. You mean those channel patterns? The stock can just sit there, and if a stock sits there, I can make money. I mean, it's really kind of, I don't know if revolutionary is the right word, but it's almost a mind-boggling kind of event where you're like, wow, sideways price action, and I can still make money. If a stock literally does not change, I can still make money. That's I'm in the same camp as you. That was pretty cool for me. As far as rituals, routines, I mean, what do you do? Do you wake up and are you looking at charts in the morning, at night? How are you kind of doing things in terms of your homework and prep work?
Well, I'll tell you how I used to do things was I would look at charts morning, noon, afternoon, night. I wouldn't sleep. I was working 120 hours a week, like as soon as and we saw where that led. Today, I have a written trading plan. Another thing that blows my mind is everybody wants to do this for a living. They all want to be a professional trader for a living, but they have no business plan. How do you go into business without a business plan? You realize that the statistics are 9 out of 10 companies fail within their first 5 years, right? Well, isn't it odd that about 90% of traders also fail? I believe that's because they don't have a trading plan. I have literally written a trading plan that tells me you do research between this hour and this hour, you trade between this hour and this hour, you stop and turn off your computer between this hour and this hour, just like I'm open for business. I've got exactly how much risk I will take. I've got exactly Everything written down. It's all written down just like a business plan, because this is a business. If you're going to trade, you've got to do it as a business.
But Steven, that sounds like hard and serious work. Why? I just wanted a few Lamborghinis and a helicopter to kind of fly it around to various countries. I mean, this sounds like a ton of work. Is it a ton of work?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And again, that's why I go back to the why and not the how. The how you can figure out all day long. The how is all over the website. It's all in the inner circle. You can learn everything that you need to learn in the inner circle on your website, Clay. It's again, it's the why. And it's like you mentioned, Chezz, you love this stuff. You wake up every morning and you enjoy doing it. So do I. It's just interesting to me. Even when in times that I didn't have any money in an account, I would still get up early and watch the market and pretend like I had money in the market, because it's fun to watch for me.
Right. It doesn't feel like a burden kind of showing up. You don't dread turning the computer on. But
no, it's fun. It really is, and it's so much fun actually that I had to put in my business plan: you will not trade between these hours. You will not do research between these hours. It's really important to have a life outside of trading.
Yeah, I came to that realization very quickly that I needed to kind of have some better balance, to kind of keep people, my girlfriend, all of that, I was neglecting because I was just so kind of into it. But yeah, it's all about kind of the other stuff in life around it. Trading is just, it's your job. But I hope a lot of our listeners realize that, Steven realized that he had to approach this like a business, and he treats it very seriously, and he has all of this structured, written down, planned. He doesn't just come in willy-nilly every day and make the kind of gains that he's made. So I hope you guys heed that advice. But a huge question that's, I think, something that distinguishes a lot of beginner traders to more veteran traders is, how do you mentally deal with losses now compared to right when you started in ninth grade?
Yeah, that's a big one. Nobody likes to lose, but again, there's another incredible video that Clay made on being a good loser. You've got to be a good loser. And again, that's because of risk management and position sizing. And when I say that, let me just quickly elaborate on that. I'm going to briefly touch on it. I got this example from somebody. His name was Rob Reinhold. He's a good investor, one of my favorites. But anyway, he gave me this example. He said, Steven, you're going to make 10 trades. Now, 4 to 5 of those trades are going to go bad. They're going to go completely against you. You're going to think all 10 of these are going to be amazing trades. And then another 4 to 5 of them, they're going to be okay. You might break even on them. You might make 2%. But then you're going to have 1 trade or 2 trades out of every 10 trades that goes phenomenally. And you're going to let it run, and it's going to make... And so that's what I've found is I've got to limit my losses to 2%. I don't fall in love with a stock. When it's time to get out, it's time to get out. I set a stop immediately as soon as I buy that stock. And if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. And it is what it is, and it's on to the next one. Because I know every 10 trades, at least half of them are going to go against me. At this point in my life, I'm completely convinced that it almost doesn't even matter which stock you're buying and when you're buying it. All that matters is that you're managing your risk properly and you're always putting in stop losses.
The one thing that most people don't realize is that stock trading has nothing to do with making money, but it has everything to do with managing risk. Because when you manage risk in the long run, like Steven said, out of those 10 trades, you're going to have plenty of bad ones. But all it takes is a couple of those, and as long as you're managing risk, money can still come out of it and will still come out of it, but you got to be focused on... Now, from a sales point, yeah, making money, make millions sounds so much better than, hey, come manage risk. But, manage risk is what, it all boils down to. So I know we're getting close to the end here, Steven, so I want to ask you kind of a couple final questions.
Sure.
Right now, strengths, weaknesses, what would you say? And then kind of what are some of your goals going forward?
All right. Well, I would say my weaknesses are the same weaknesses that we all have, which is just managing emotions. The room that I trade in, I call it the war room. Right? Because it's a war room. But the war, though, is the real estate that the war takes place on is a very small piece of real estate, and it's just that few inches in between your ears. That's where the battle lies. And the challenge is every day, how can I protect my capital to survive one more day in the market? It's like getting in a cage with a lion every single day. And it's just, can I survive today? Can I survive today? So
That's
my
an
weaknesses
absolutely
are just like everybody
fantastic.
else.
That's a fantastic way to kind of describe the war, though. But continue, please. That was an awesome analogy.
No, I mean it's just what it is. I mean trading will teach you so much about who you are as a person, as a human being. It taught me about myself and how to handle life and situations and relationships. And if you don't know what I mean when I say that, you will learn. Trading's going to teach you a lot about yourself.
Okay, and so yeah, it will definitely teach you a lot about yourself. That's for sure. Now, if you had a time machine that I built that was made out of tinfoil and some other scraps I found around the garage, and you could go back in time to when you first started trading, back in ninth grade, what advice would you give yourself then?
It's not about making money for personal happiness. It has absolutely nothing to do with driving nice cars, getting a nice house, having the trophy wife, having all that stuff. That stuff comes. Yeah, it sure does. But if I could go back and tell myself one thing, it would be love your family, love your friends, be generous, give as often as you can, as much as you can. Figure out a way to hurt those who are in pain and in suffering right now. Figure out a way to, basically just help people in the world. That's why you're meant to do this. You're not meant to do this so you can be some big, bad, awesome dude and, hey, look at me. That's not what it's about anymore. It's not about me, truly. It's not about me. When I get any glory, I love to just point it on to what it is about, and that's helping others.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, no, that's a good perspective, and that's this is a great interview. In fact, we may have to have you back sometime to shoot the breeze some more. But time for the final fun questions here. So I would ask you what's the backstory of your alias, but to give you credit in the chat room, you go by Stephen King. So there is no alias. You go by your real name. So
my parents are pretty twisted, don't you think?
Yeah, that's pretty messed up, man. That's pretty messed up. So
I know.
Fun questions. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Oh man, I don't know. Holy cow! I don't know. That's sorry.
We can come back to it but this is the all important question that
I don't. I guess maybe I don't want to be honest. I think I watched Twilight the other day with one of my girlfriends, and I think I really enjoyed it. But anyway, that's.
We can always edit that out if you change your mind.
All right. So something that I think you might have a little bit of an easier time answering is what's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal? Oh man, that's steak. I'll go for a filet mignon any day.
Nice. And then after the steak is gone, what kind of favorite dessert are you looking at?
Dude, I don't really like dessert. I ate so much junk food when I was a kid. I literally used to live off of Skittles and Twinkies and stuff like that. So honestly, I would rather eat a good steak any day and absolutely fill myself to the top with that thing.
And $40,000 can buy a lot of Skittles too. So I mean, you were probably swimming. You probably had a swimming pool of Skittles. If in my mind, that's what I'm envisioning right now.
Dude, I tasted the rainbow.
Yeah, exactly. You created the rainbow for sure.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to pick a favorite song or a favorite band, what would that be?
Well, to be frank, I don't like to too much talk about religion or spirituality because that's a touchy subject for somebody. But just for me and my own personal journey, I have found a little bit of spirituality in my life through coming out of addiction, and so I do listen to some contemporary religious music, things like that. But again, I'm totally cool with whatever page anybody else is on. I don't think that you need to believe what I believe to be okay in life. I think everybody's okay.
Hey man, these are your final fun questions, so you can answer them however you want. This is if somebody else has a problem, then they can come on the podcast and they can answer the question any way they want. So no worries there. I mean, this is your time. Your time.
I just don't want to offend anybody.
Political correctness has gotten a little out of control. We're all good here. They're your questions, so no worries on that front. So what do you do for fun?
I was just gonna say, if political correctness really is gonna go out the window, I would absolutely say that I could not have accomplished any of this if it wasn't for my higher power. And I don't claim to know what that higher power is or what it does or how much involvement it might have in my life or what it might not, but I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that power that's greater than myself.
So what do you like to do for fun, hobbies? I mean, what kind of what are you doing with your life outside of trading and your whole business plan?
Well, like I said, I love to spend time with family. One of my favorite things to do on the weekends is watch little Buckeyes football with my dad. We're all big Buckeye fans here around the house. I just lost half my audience, I know, but
well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it. I mean, come on, we are undisputed the champions, and we probably will be next year and the year after that.
So Clay's absolutely loving that. Now you're definitely, even with the fact that you couldn't answer the movie question right away, Clay will still have you back since you're a Buckeyes fan. But
that's true. That all has been forgiven when somebody's a Buckeye fan. They can come on here and say, Clay, your products are terrible. You're the worst person ever. And I'll say, hey, do you want to be a guest next week if you're a Buckeye fan? So, I mean, that's pretty much how it rolls. And one final question here. If I gave you, I need 3 words to, if you are to summarize what a successful trader looks like, what would those 3 words be?
Patience, risk management, and position sizing.
Right to the point, guys. You heard it from the man who's made a lot of money. So if you don't believe me when I was on my interview or anybody else, it seems to be a recurring thing. So you guys need to absorb this information and apply it in your trading. Now, Steven, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today. If people want to reach out to you and talk to you, where could they find you? Twitter, Facebook, and the Inner Circle, or wherever they can reach you best?
Yeah, no, it's really easy to remember. It's my name, only with the middle initial is H. So Stephen H. King is my Twitter, and my email is the same thing, stephenhking@hotmail.com. And I love to talk to people, especially people, I love to talk to them about giving, starting charities, anything to help other people. If you're on board with those kind of ideas, I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for taking time out of your day. And I think, I know you made a lot of good points and have quite the story. So thanks again, and it was great having you.
Thank you, Clay. I really appreciate it. It was really an honor to talk to you today, man. I've been a fan for a long time, so it's really cool to talk to you.
I appreciate that. And for everybody listening, thanks to you for taking time out of your day, and we will see you back for episode 9. Before you do leave, though, I'd like to make a couple just quick requests. If you are listening to this podcast at claytrader.com, click one of those share buttons. Also, leave a comment below. We love to hear from people. We interact with people. So if you do leave a comment below, you will hear from Chezz or I, or maybe even both. So again, claytrader.com/podcast. Give your comments, give your feedback, and even give some criticism. If it's constructive criticism, we're all for it, and we do really like to hear from people. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please leave a review. If you want us to keep making these, we want to see that people are interested. In a very quick, a very simple way to express your interest, let us know that you are enjoying these and finding benefit in these, is just by leaving a quick review on iTunes. So do that for us too. Little things like that really do go a long ways, and Chezz and I will keep pumping these things out. So again, thanks for listening. Get out there and trade without emotion.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.